Have you ever wondered what the world's most catastrophic act of terror was? We live in a world where, unfortunately, acts of terror have become part of our collective history. Terrorism, a term that sends chills down our spines, has shaped the course of humanity in ways we could never have imagined. Throughout our history, societies have encountered various forms of violence and terror. But when we talk about terrorism, we're not just referring to random acts of violence. Terrorism is a deliberate use of violence, often against civilians, to create fear and achieve political, religious, or ideological aims. And the impact of such acts is far beyond the immediate devastation they cause. Terrorism has a global impact. It changes our way of life, it alters our perception of the world, and it influences our decisions. It's not confined to a particular region or group of people. It's a global concern that affects us all, regardless of where we live or what we believe. Now imagine an act of terror so catastrophic, so impactful that it forever changed the course of history. An event so devastating that it not only shook the world to its core, but also redefined the very concept of terrorism. This incident, this unimaginable act of violence, is what we are going to explore today. But before we delve into the specifics, let's take a moment to reflect on the gravity of this topic. It's not just about a singular event, but about the ripple effect it created, the lives it changed, the hearts it broke, and the resilience it provoked. Remember, this is not a tale of despair, but a reminder of our collective strength, our shared humanity, and our unwavering spirit to rise above adversity. This event, which we will delve into momentarily, forever altered the course of history. The date was September 11th, 2001. A day that would etch itself into the consciousness of a generation and become a touchstone for a world drastically changed. On this fateful morning, 4 commercial airliners were commandeered by 19 men, their hearts filled with malice and a chilling resolve. These were not ordinary passengers, they were terrorists, intent on executing a devastating plan that would shake the very foundations of the world's most powerful nation. 2 of these aircraft, American Airlines Flight 11 and United Airlines Flight 175, took off from Boston, filled with unsuspecting passengers and crew. They were bound for Los Angeles, but they would never reach their intended destination. Instead, under the control of these hijackers, they were ruthlessly steered towards the iconic towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. Almost simultaneously, in a coordinated assault, the other 2 planes, American Airlines Flight 77 and United Airlines Flight 93, were taken over. Flight 77, heading for Los Angeles from Washington, D.C., was mercilessly directed into the Pentagon, the heart of the United States military power. Meanwhile, Flight 93, scheduled to fly from Newark to San Francisco, was believed to be headed for yet another significant target. However, the heroism of the passengers on board forced the plane to crash in Pennsylvania, averting further disaster. This meticulous and ruthless orchestration of terror unfolded in just a few hours. The unimaginable had happened. The mighty Twin Towers, once symbols of America's economic might, were reduced to rubble. The Pentagon, a symbol of military prowess, was left smoldering. Thousands of innocent lives were extinguished in an instant. Fathers, mothers, children, friends, colleagues, all gone in the blink of an eye. The world watched in horror as the scenes of destruction and despair were broadcast live, indelibly marking this as a day of infamy. In just a few hours, thousands of lives were lost and the world was left in shock. In the wake of the attacks, the world stood still. A shroud of silence descended. The world paused, as if holding its collective breath. The enormity of the event, the scale of tragedy, seemed to suspend time itself. In those first few moments, the noise of everyday life gave way to the deafening silence of shock and disbelief. But beneath this quiet, a flurry of action was underway. Rescue teams sprang into action with a singular focus: to save as many lives as possible. These brave souls, from firefighters to paramedics, from police officers to ordinary citizens, became the unsung heroes of the day. Their courage, their selflessness, would forever be etched in the annals of history. As the dust settled, the true extent of the tragedy began to unfold. The loss of life was staggering, a grim tally that left the world reeling. Thousands of lives had been snuffed out in an instant, each one a universe of dreams, hopes, and possibilities lost forever. Each one leaving behind a void that could never be filled. Yet, in the face of such unthinkable horror, the world came together as never before. Messages of solidarity poured in from every corner of the globe. Nation, once divided by politics and ideology, found common ground in their shared grief and outrage. The world was united, not by a common enemy, but by a common sense of humanity. The aftermath of the attacks was a testament to the indomitable spirit of mankind. Despite the darkness, there were glimmers of light, stories of survival, of heroism, of love and compassion that transcended borders and cultures. It was a stark reminder that even in our darkest hours, our shared humanity shines the brightest. In the days and weeks that followed, the search for answers began. The world demanded justice, not just for the victims, but for all of humanity that had been violated by this act of terror. It was a quest that would take us down a long and winding road, filled with twists and turns, but one we were determined to navigate. The world was united in grief, and the quest for justice began. The world demanded justice, and the hunt was on. The magnitude of the tragedy had left a profound impact, a gaping wound in the hearts of millions worldwide. The pursuit of justice became a shared mission, uniting nations in an unprecedented global effort. The task was monumental. The threads of this intricate web of terror extended far and wide, crossing borders and entangling countless individuals. The search for the perpetrators was like looking for a needle in a haystack, the haystack being the vast, complex world of international terrorism. The investigation led by the world's most sophisticated intelligence agencies was marked by relentless determination. It was a race against time, a race to prevent further atrocities. The clues were elusive, the trail often cold, but the resolve of those in pursuit never wavered. The journey took investigators from the ravaged streets of the affected cities to the far-flung corners of the globe. It was a painstaking process, piecing together fragments of information, connecting the dots in a seemingly endless maze of leads. Then, a breakthrough. The discovery of Osama bin Laden as the mastermind behind the tragedy sent shockwaves around the globe. The face of terror had a name, and with that revelation came a renewed sense of purpose. The focus of the manhunt had narrowed, the target was in sight. The chase continued, spanning a decade. It was a game of cat and mouse, a deadly game with high stakes. The world watched and waited, the quest for justice casting a long shadow over the years that followed the tragedy. Throughout this period, the courage and tenacity of those involved in the hunt served as a beacon of hope. Their unwavering commitment was a testament to the human spirit's resilience, its refusal to bow down to fear, its determination to uphold justice. And then, after a decade-long manhunt, the moment the world had been waiting for arrived. After a decade-long manhunt, justice was finally served. The pursuit of justice had come full circle. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief. The long night was over, but the memories of the journey, etched in the annals of history, would serve as a stark reminder of the cost of freedom and peace. The events of September 11th, 2001 continued to impact the world today. In the wake of the attacks, the world as we knew it underwent a seismic shift. This wasn't just an isolated incident with immediate repercussions. It was a moment that would forever redefine global politics, security measures, and societal attitudes towards terrorism. In the realm of international politics, the attack served as a catalyst for the implementation of stringent anti-terrorism policies worldwide. Nations united under a common cause, combating terrorism and reshaping the diplomatic landscape. The world saw the birth of a new era of cooperation, where countries worked together to ensure that such a heinous act would never be repeated. Security measures, too, saw a significant overhaul post-September 11. Airports, in particular, became fortresses, with security checks ramped up to unprecedented levels. The focus shifted dramatically towards prevention, with intelligence agencies worldwide working tirelessly to preempt any potential threats. The world became a much more watchful place, forever on guard against the invisible enemy that is terrorism. Perhaps the most profound impact, however, has been on societal attitudes towards terrorism. The attacks brought the reality of terrorism to the forefront of public consciousness, making it a central concern in everyday life. Today, society is more aware, more vigilant, and more determined to stand against acts of terror. The tragedy has been a powerful reminder of the preciousness of peace and the importance of unity in the face of adversity. In the years that have followed, we've seen the ripple effects of September 11th in every aspect of our lives. It has shaped our world in ways we could never have imagined, forever altering the course of history. Despite the passage of time, the world continues to feel the ripple effects of that fateful day.